Well, tensions between Australia and France are continuing to thaw after the Foreign Minister Penny Wong met with her French counterpart, Catherine Colonna. A military agreement has been reached between the two countries, which is going to allow the ADF to access French military bases. Joining us live now is United States Study Centre Foreign Policy and Defence Director Peter Dean. Peter, good to see you. Thanks for your time. How do you expect ADF personnel will be using this access to France's military bases in the Pacific and Indian Oceans? What value add do they bring?
Well, as you mentioned, there's bases both in the Pacific and the Indian Ocean. France is a genuine Indo-Pacific power, and this is about a return to an engagement in relationship that's built off those mutual interests we have in the region. Particularly New Caledonia and the Pacific is really important for Australia, being able to use those military facilities that France has. And France has committed to increasing their presence in the region, including building up, President Macron announced last year, the building up of a local defence facility to train locals in defence areas. So these things combined are going to be really important. But as you said, the ADF is going to get access to these facilities. It can help our presence in the region, help that presence endure, meaning that Australian naval forces, for instance, can visit these ports, get provisions, get stocks, potentially even do some maintenance there as well, which will just give them a longer presence in the region, more time on station. And that's going to be really beneficial for Australian presence, but also French presence as well, because they get reciprocal access back into our facilities. And in fact, I was only walking past our fleet base in Sydney last night on the way past to see a French frigate tied up alongside an Australian frigate. So you can already see that sort of mutual engagement of each other's facilities in the region.
Well, speaking of mutual engagement, earlier this week the AUKUS defence ministers met. They emerged from those talks flagging cooperation on a deep space radar, also in the AI world. How much are these high-tech initiatives going to be in terms of their importance as we do work together with our AUKUS partners going forward?
Yeah, it's a really interesting announcement, this one. We've kind of been waiting a little bit, probably a little bit too long with some big announcements about AUKUS Pillar 2. So everyone knows, I'm sure, about AUKUS Pillar 1, that is Australia acquiring a conventionally armed nuclear-powered submarine. That's been really the focus of discussions around AUKUS for a long period of time. But AUKUS Pillar 2 is the advanced capabilities area, and there hasn't been a lot of announcements being made in these areas. I think the most interesting announcement that was made out of this was the contribution to do a sharing of artificial intelligence. And an example there was given around P-8 maritime patrol aircraft and the ability between the three countries to share huge volumes of data that are being collected, for instance, from sonar buoys, which are dropped into the water to track submarines. So being able to share that data and share that information, it sounds a bit sort of nerdy and boffinish. It sounds almost routine on one level, but this is a critically big step forward. There's huge volumes of data there. They're bounded by, of course, great secrecy, and it's quite difficult to get the ones and zeros to line up to share that information. So being able to collaborate on these areas is really going to advance our research and development in all three countries around this. On the deep space radars, well, the three countries are already going to host the dark deep space radars. I think this is more about bringing it under the banner of AUKUS. But by bringing it under the banner of AUKUS, by the export control regulations, we're looking at changes in Australia and the United States, we should be able to advance those capabilities much quicker, much more deeper, and share that information much more. So this is a really positive step. The maritime exercises in autonomous systems is also a very important one. We saw some demonstrations happening out here in Australia around this. So, and of course, the big thing is all three countries are about deterrence. Deterrence is about getting into the mind of your adversary. And so unless we let people know what we're doing and make sure there's a clear deterrence value to each of these things, we'll not be able to make that advances as well. So it's really good to see all three governments finally getting on the front foot here. And really critically, I'll just add here, is industry forums. They announced that there'll be industry forums, there'll be opportunities for industry to get involved. And I think industry has been crying out for this for a long time. So I think that's a positive step forward to get greater industry involvement.
Professor Peter Dean, always appreciate your analysis. Don't worry, Newsday is a very safe space for nerds and boffins. We love that sort. So thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.